Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to give you a video review of the Access Virus TI Polar. It is a smaller keyboard with software synthesis, and it's pretty famous actually. It's a rather old device, so it's not as easy to buy as it once was. This is the TI1 model, not the TI2, but it doesn't really matter. It all sounds about the same. So without further ado, how about I give you a review of the outside of the device, and then in the second part of the review, or third part, I don't know, depends how you count. In the third part of the review, we will go over some of the sounds and stuff like that and how to build patches on it. And spoiler alert, it sounds pretty awesome. Okay, let's get into the second part of the review. Okay, so this is the Access Virus TI Polar. Polar just means it's the white version, and it is smaller than their full-sized keyboard, but it's not a desktop model. They also have a desktop model with just this stuff here and no keyboard on it, but I went for the keyboard one because I also wanted to use it as a MIDI controller for my other stuff without taking up a full table the way that my larger keyboards do. So on the outside of the device, let's start with the back. On the outside of the device, you have a bunch of ports for inputs and outputs. As you can see, the inputs right there, so you can run other things through its effects and stuff like that. Outputs, you've got MIDI in, out, and through over here. You've got SPDIF. I actually don't know what these things do. I've never used them before. I just use the outputs on here. Headphone jack over here, and your power over here, as well as a USB jack right here. And this thing does hook up to a computer with software, but I've never used it with a computer because I like to do everything standalone. On the outside of the device, talking about building construction, it's metal. It's all metal. It's very solid, extremely solidly built. All the buttons feel nice and clicky. The knobs are good. They have a good amount of tension on them. And the modulation and pitch feel nice to turn as well. They're thick and heavy, and they feel pretty good in use. Going around to the front of the device, the keys are, I guess they're full size. I mean, I'm not sure if they're smaller at all, but they look full size. They have very nice give, very nice play. They feel substantial. They're definitely not as heavy as actual keyboard or like piano keys, but they feel pretty darn good. And there is Aftertouch on this, and it is the Aftertouch that I like. It's not just pressing harder, you can hear, but you can actually feel it has an extra level for Aftertouch, just a little bit more, where it just kind of gives a little bit. So the Aftertouch is very nice on here. There is a screen up here to show you different things about, like, whatever you click on for settings, it'll give you different settings on the display down there. So if I exit out of there and I click on, for example, oscillator buttons, it'll start giving me information on the screen down here, and these knobs are context sensitive, so whatever they show up here, they will adjust down here. It's pretty cool. Whole bunch of different buttons for different things. Oscillators, all the oscillator controls are in this one thing here, so you can choose the oscillator 1, 2, and 3 by pressing the select button. Kind of nice. And then the edit button right here, if you turn it off, it'll, I don't know, you got to exit out of it. And then oscillator 3 on. So there's a bunch of different stuff in here. Here's your filter controls right here, your filter envelope and your amp envelope. Some other oscillator controls in here for mixing your different oscillators together. And over here, you've got controls for different effects. As you can see right there, there are a bunch of different controls for them. Here, you've got your mod matrix with all your different slots on here. So it's actually very easy to go from slot to slot, and it'll show you which slot has which effect and where it routes to. And you can use these to control that. Up here, you've got your LFO controls inside of the modulator, and you can change the shape of your multiple different LFOs, LFO 1, 2, and 3. There's a lot of stuff you can do in here. One thing that I haven't played with too much about the synth yet, but there's a single and a multi. Single is just a single patch, using the up to 3 oscillators to make different sounds that all play together. And then multi is 16 different parts, and you can make different patches in each part and then layer them on top of each other. Again, I haven't gotten too deep into it, but it is pretty cool. Yeah, that's about it for the outside of the device. And if you give me just a minute, when we come back, I will give you a demo of some of the sounds, some of the patches that I've made, as well as some of the inbuilt patches. And yeah, again, like I said, it sounds fantastic. It's a wonderful device. It is, yeah, so nicely made. Anyway, see you guys in a second. Okay, so here we are in the next part of the review. Sorry for the upside down view here. It's the only way I could get my camera stand to stand up while I'm doing the recording. Also, if my camera shakes a little bit while I'm doing this, it's because it's like the stand is extended as high as it can possibly go, which means it's not very stable. But all that aside, we're here about the sound. So let's have a listen to what this thing sounds like. And let's start with some default patches, okay? Go into single here. This is called A Lead BC, and we'll give it a go. A little bit of delay on there and a tiny bit of reverb. Oh my god, my cat just came in the room. Nice. Okay, let's move to another patch. Very nice, very magical sound on that one. Go to another one here. This one's called Badmouth BC. It's a very different kind of sound, but it kind of shows off what the excess virus can do. It's not just sine wave or square wave or whatever. It's got a lot of audio potential to make very different sounds. This is a combination of the modulators and the effects and the oscillators. And sorry if you continually hear my cat meow. She smells sushi. That's called bass soup. Nice bell kind of sound here. Yeah, nice. Bellfire BC here. Very similar. Cool. I can throw effects on all of these, but it's a little bit... let's see here. Let's go to reverb. Let's see if I can do this. A little bit of reverb. Probably a room reverb here. If I go to edit, I can change the type. It's hall. Then I can change the time and the color. Turn the time down a bit. All right, let's try another patch here. I'm gonna go to exit, and this one's called Both Ends BC. A little bit of Aftertouch on there. This is a pre-made patch, so what the Aftertouch does is already dictated in the patch, but of course I could go in there and change it all, although I haven't. Change the filter here, let's see here. Kind of cool. It's very very dynamic and very diverse what I can do. Exit out of there, go to the next patch. Very 90s sounding patch there. Cool. So as you can see, there are a lot of different sounds that this thing has. It's very VST sounding, like very software synth sounding, because it is running software synthesizers. And some people could make the argument that it'd be cheaper to just buy a bunch of VSTs online or whatever for their DAW of choice. But there's something to be said about having button per function controls on here, and of course it's a very nicely made device, and it's quite powerful. The TI-2 was a bit more powerful, but this one is still very powerful. I think there's 128 voice, polyphonic. So yeah, you can still do a lot with it. Let's go to one of the patches that I made here. It's called Savannah, and it's kind of a low. I'll just play it to you. A lot of reverb, a little bit of a delay on there, and a very slow envelope to allow it to build up slowly. It's kind of like a movie style patch. Going on here. Yeah, kind of cool. This one's called Angelic. Although this is a multi-patch, and somehow, I'm not sure how, but I ended up putting sounds in all the other slots. Like I said, it's 16 different patches stacked together. And like I built the patch on slot 1, and then all the other slots somehow got turned into additional sounds, and so it doesn't sound the way that I actually made it. That really powerful sawtooth is not what I designed it for, but that's okay. Bit of a bug there. It somehow gets stuck playing one of the oscillators. I'm not sure why. So you constantly hear a very shrill sounding oscillator on there, and that is what the device automatically added to all of the patches on the multi. And I'm not sure how or why that happened, but that's not really a problem with the device. It's more so a problem with the fact that I am very amateur, and I don't spend too much time digging into how to use all of my synthesizers. So I might accidentally enable something or do something and not know what I've done. So don't hold it against the synth, hold it against me. As I said, totally amateur review. Anyway, that gives you a pretty good overview of what the device looks like and sounds like and what it brings to the table. It is an awesome synthesizer. I would say the size makes it really portable looking, but the weight of the device, it's built like a tank, and it is also really, really heavy. So while it could be, quote unquote portable, it's also a very heavy device, not good for, it's not like a little MIDI keyboard that you could like carry around with you. It's quite heavy, but I like the build quality personally, and I think that the thing sounds wonderful, and I'm really glad that I have one because I don't know, the Access Virus synthesizers are kind of iconic in the world of synthesis, especially for pumping out trance or EDM style sounds. It's pretty wonderful for like that. I haven't mentioned it. I mentioned it does have an arpeggiator. Whoops, I just edited. Let's exit there. It's supposed to be on, but let's go to one of these. There's your arpeggiator. Of course, you can set it through MIDI or like a MIDI clock, or you can set it through the device itself. Ooh, very cool. So yeah, the arpeggiator is pretty good. It's everything you'd expect out of an arpeggiator. So that's my review of the Access Virus TI Polar, or Polar TI. I don't know how it goes, but that's my review for it. I hope you liked the review. If you have any questions or comments, of course, leave them down below, and I will do my best to answer them. And how about we just leave it off on some playing of notes and stuff, and we'll end the video after that. Okay? This is Cadicus, out.
Yeah.